to the first, where folks like those slaughter princes, what environment they were living in Los Angeles. This was the 70s and 80s, and I remember them crystal clearly. I'm going to just run it down for those that weren't there. The 70s was more permissive than you can possibly imagine. First of all, law enforcement was virtually non-existent unless there was some, horrible flare-up. There were so many things going on societally that everything from understaffing to whatever. I mean, everyone knows. It's in the thousands upon hundreds of thousands upon millions of things. Permissive. Hitchhiking was normal. Straight people had ubsclay of their own, where couples had fun and wives, and it was a humongous place. Actually, it used to be a very famous Italian restaurant in Hollywood called Plato's Retreat. Anything Goes was the cover of Newsweek in 1970. And I'll tell you, they followed through on that promise. So we are having things that are okay, that to us now, sitting wherever we are, or standing or cooking, since I come through to you in your own language now, would be absolutely beyond imagination. I mean, just like heinous. But this was normal. This was SOP in the 70s. Like I said, hitchhikers and promiscuity and, oh my God, substance misuse and flagrancy, expository, meaning, everybody look at it, it's okay. The town was falling apart. You guys, I lived it, anything goes. Newsweek got it dead on the money. And this lasted through the early 80s. That's my period. Again, a lot of my book will touch on, in terms of continuity here, that first part we're talking about, the 70s, the uber permissiveness, the no enforcement, into the early 80s. And of course, that's what I'm being persecuted for, is 1981. So be it. Again, let's understand the environment, okay? Liquor was being sold to Einers May, left, right, and center, you guys. Okay, let's remember this ABC. Liquor. Anyone. Easily available. Substances, say, such as, I don't know, I talked about Okie Dog several shows ago. Easy access. Mexican restaurants, not a problem with margarita at 16. Are you kidding me? If you had a license, you could go and get anywhere. And unlike I had to do when I was 14, you take a white wax pen and a sharp pencil when they were fabric licenses, make a perfect circle. Suddenly 1966 is 1960. Whatever. We don't live in that day and age now, but that was where I was. That's where y'all are complaining that I came from. This law enforcement non-existence, this availability and access. And this was the leftover permissiveness of the 70s, which again, I remember clearly. I was victimized by the 70s, and yet 78 was the year of my life. So go figure, I don't know what you want to make of that, but it was definitely leftover-y, very closely, close proximity there, 80 to 83, let's say. Anything, you guys. There was a liquor store in Hollywood on La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard when I was 14, and you've seen that picture. Go back like 10 pictures of me when I'm 14. I could go in there, not beer, I wouldn't waste my time with the beer unless I was in a club. Liquor. 14 looking like that. Easy on a regular, not that I was an alcoholic at 14, excuse the language, but that was the access. You walked by on how, there were two within a half a mile of there that would do the same thing. I could go to Trader Vic's, a 5-star restaurant bar at that time in the early 80s. Of those of you that are older than me will sure as hell remember it, and get served any cocktail under the sun, man. You name it, you know. If I wanted a Manhattan, it wasn't a problem, and there I was in a suit, and I was 16. So this is where we were, people that were not there. This is where we were, 70s, 80s, permissive, unenforced years, okay? And then AIDS fell into everything, and then all of us went from here to there, and, you know, do the math, people. Statistically, go to union numbers, go to working actors numbers. If you're a mathematician, kind of like I am in a weird way, statistically, there is a movement in this book of mine, and this channel's not a book, but from what I'm talking about, okay? So just do the math. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you alone. I hope this is like enough to like separate into like reasonably sized shows. Thank you for joining me. You do know how I adore you. I don't deserve you, but what can I say? I'll see you tomorrow with all those shows and teasers and clips. Take care. Love you. Bye.